Hello, my name is David Ades. I'm a certified professional life coach, specializing in the recovery from narcissistic abuse. And today's video is about the role that forgiveness plays on one's journey of recovering from narcissistic abuse. I'm going to make two main points in this video, and I hope you at least can take home the first one if you are a survivor of narcissistic abuse. The main point, and I'll get into it in a moment, is forgiveness doesn't work with the narcissist. You don't forgive the narcissist. And the reason you don't is simply because it does not apply. Some of you have either realized that by now or have had the inkling of it. In grieving, the abyssal void of one's own story that a narcissist leaves one with, throughout the process of grieving this abysmal black hole void that a narcissist leaves one with, one may fluctuate between empathizing with their abuser, feeling bad for their abuser. They're a broken child. They're just so disconnected from themselves. They're in so much pain. I feel for them and what made them the way that they are. And that's actually an important point to make, that the circumstances that go into the creation of a narcissist are hellish circumstances, which is why the narcissist is a hellish phenomenon. In grieving this abyss in one's story that a narcissist leaves one with, one may fluctuate between empathizing with them, seeking forgiveness for them, feeling compassion for them, so on and so forth, and hating them, demonizing them, blaming them. How could they? Why did they? Or why didn't they? Notice what they were doing. Why didn't they care? So on and so forth. One may fluctuate towards forgiveness, as the main point of this video is forgiveness. But this fluctuation between forgiveness, empathy, compassion, and demonization, blaming, etc., is a part of the process, not the end goal. The story will not end with either you've forgiven the narcissist or you've decided that you're going to die on the hill of demonizing them. As long as this pendulum is swinging, the story hasn't ended yet. And here's the problem. The narcissist has left this abyssal gap in your story. And seeking to forgive them or trying to blame them is an attempt to make the abyss a part of the story. I might ask you the question, so how is the narcissist going to fit into the story of your life, right? Because it did happen and they were there, so it is a part of the story of your life, right? And the response might be, well, I'm going to learn about compassion and empathy through this. I'm going to learn more about forgiveness. Or it can be the opposite. Well, I learned what I'm not going to tolerate from now on. And I learned that there are some just really bad people. And I learned that it's trying to derive meaning from something that's meaningless. The narcissist is a meaningless creature. They are devoid of meaning. And that's what they do to the people that they are close enough with. They are a vacuum of soul. They are a black hole, like I said before, of spirit. The thing that animates a human being, the narcissist lacks that in some profound, philosophical, psychological, pseudo-religious way. They're like a damned creature living on Earth. They lack this sort of humanity, and when you interact with one, when you get close enough with one, they bring that lack of humanity to you. They encase you in their lack of humanity fantasy nightmare land that they walk around with all of the time. And they're trying to use you to kind of try to escape. It's never going to work, which is why a narcissist goes from relationship to relationship, from person to person, because they cannot escape. Anyway, You see that it sounds like I might be offering some insight into the narcissist's condition that do beg for forgiveness or empathy. They're drowning in hell all of the time, which is why the way that they behave, the way that they do. The thing about it is it's so uncanny to deal with. It's so jarring, out of this world, alien. The experience is so, I think, abhuman, not quite human, that it is as if there is nothing that a human can do with a narcissist or with the wound that they leave. Because again, it's a kind of abhuman, so uncanny and jarring thing. My goal is to move people past that abyssal void that a narcissist leaves in their story. And as long as we're swinging between the pendulum of do I forgive them or do I demonize them, you're still trying to write the story of them. But the thing about them is there's no story. That's part of the difficulty of grieving this void, is realizing the narcissist, for all intents and purposes, is not a person. There was nothing personal about what they did to you. And I put that in quotations because they aren't there. He or her, the narcissist from your life, they're not. They are not. The reason they didn't do it is because they aren't there. You can't humanize this. You can't forgive something that isn't on the level of forgiveness. It's like a natural disaster. A tornado sweeps through, rips, meaning from your life in one sense or another, rips stuff you care about, rips maybe a person you care about from your life. The conversation isn't, how do I forgive the tornado? It's, how do I grieve what is lost? How do I accept that such monstrosities of nature exist, and I am powerless, relatively, powerless in the face of them? Can I do anything differently next time? Can I look out for the warning signs next time? This is the narcissist. The narcissist is a force of nature, a natural phenomenon, a monstrous one, causes catastrophe, destruction in his or her wake. But you don't seek to forgive a tornado. You seek to forgive yourself for being powerless in the face of it. You seek to forgive God or fate for, why do tornadoes exist at all? Why did this happen to me? What am I supposed to do with this? This is about you and your story, not about something that comes in and threatens to destroy your story. This is where I'm moving from why forgiveness doesn't work to what the role that forgiveness does play. The forgiveness plays a role in the recovery from narcissistic abuse in two ways, at least. 2 ways. Very important, though, 2. You need to forgive yourself for having found yourself in the wake of a narcissist, or if that's not how it happened, because it's apparent, right? You didn't find yourself with a narcissistic, you didn't fall for them by accident. You need to forgive yourself for struggling, for having struggled, for anything that you blame yourself for. You need to treat yourself like you are worthy. In other words, stop treating yourself like you are unworthy, meaning you need to extend the hand of forgiveness to yourself and lift yourself up. Say, no, it's okay, get up. There's another thing, and I'll talk about the journey of getting to forgiveness in these regards in a moment, which is also going to help you get to what you actually need to get to in regards to the abyssal void that the narcissist represents and leaves in your life, which is acceptance. You need to accept this abyssal void. You need to accept what you learn about the human condition through dealing with a narcissist. You must accept the destruction in the wake. You must accept the tornado and how it was placed in your path by fate or by God or what have you. You need to accept, or you need to accept that you can't accept. That's the goal. Acceptance. Accepting the unacceptable, which means accepting that you're not even in a position to offer it acceptance, which is a very kind of understandable human thing. Why would a human be able to accept everything that exists? Maybe if you become enlightened, then, but the journey to becoming enlightened is a journey. So maybe we're talking about that a little bit. Self-actualization, psychological liberation, enlightenment, recovery from narcissistic abuse puts you, speeds up, compels you to walk all of these paths. How do I reach enlightenment? What do I need to do? I'll walk every path. I'll become a Buddhist. I'll become a life coach. You become a life coach. You have to. You have to learn how to coach yourself in order to properly, move on from grieve, so on and so forth. The abyssal void, that, etc., etc. I've said it enough times by now, even though it's worth repeating. A narcissist is an abyssal void. They leave you with an abyssal void in your story. And you do not forgive an abyssal void because it doesn't matter whether you forgive it or not. But you might have to accept it as a natural phenomenon that exists in reality. Okay, the other thing that has to be forgiven is God, is fate. You must seek forgiveness for fate, for putting this obstacle in your path. You must forgive God for creating such a monstrous, abyssal void of a human being. You must grieve maybe what you thought God was, or how much of his favor we have, or whatever. You might have to grieve what you thought fate had in store for you, who you would have been if the narcissist never was there, and da-da-da. But this is about your story. This is a conversation between you and God, you and your soul, you and your essence, true self, inner voice, you and your brain, you and your heart, your voice, your gut, your body. This is a conversation between you and your God, I could say. This is a conversation between you and your fate, your destiny. My goal is to get the narcissist out of the conversation. How to get them out of the conversation. And what that looks like is really trying to move forward from this abyssal gap in one story, and then processing moments where you encounter the leftover remnants of the viral abyssal void that the narcissist leaves you with. It comes up in symptoms. You try to move forward, and then I used this metaphor in my last video. It's like you're walking away with a Harry Potter scar that when you try to heal from narcissistic abuse, it starts to hurt, and you say, maybe I shouldn't do this, or I can't, or maybe I'm crazy, or something like this. It's harrowing, anyway. And what needs to happen is you don't stop your story and just look back on the abyssal void and try to make sense of it. What you try to do is accept that it happened, forgive yourself, forgive fate, which looks like separate it. Okay, I can't accept this for now. I can't accept this abyssal void. This is terrible. I can't forgive them. Maybe I will demonize them. And you move forward, and the pendulum swings between forgiveness and demonization. And the pendulum swings between it feels like I'm myself again, and it feels like, oh my God, I'm not myself, and the narcissist still blah, 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 and the abyssal void is still making itself known. But that's the way that the process goes, not what do we do with the narcissist. You don't do anything with them. It's the whole point. Let's stop doing something with them. This is about stop doing something with them, not what do I do with them. Stop looking for what to do about it. Don't do anything about it. Do something about yourself. Do something with yourself. I don't mean do something about yourself as if you're a problem that you have to do something about. Although you might have some things that you want to do something about. Do those. Do something about life. Do something about things that aren't nothing, like the narcissist is. Recovering from narcissistic abuse is climbing back to something from the pits of nothing. And that's it. There's no, okay, it's time to make sense of the nothing. Okay, do I demonize the nothing or forgive the nothing? No, it's nothing. Get away from it. And as you get away from it, these things will come up. I may be repeating myself at this point. The nothingness will try to keep you there, and it will remind you that it's still there, your body, your mind, your heart. Things will remind you that the abyssal void is kind of still calling to you. Oh, what are you going to do about me? And this is why recovering from narcissistic abuse is a journey, as I call it. It's a bit of a fight, it's a sob story, it's a survivor story, it's not easy, it doesn't make any sense, it's utterly meaningless. And that's part of the difficulty with it. In my next video, I'm going to talk about some of the ways that I see are helpful for what we're trying to do is kickstart one's own brain again, kickstart one's mind, because a narcissist is this suppressing machine. Envelops you, suppresses you, takes your brain, takes your body, like an alien host trying to take you over. So what needs to happen is we need to go rum, rum, until it goes rum, and then you're kind of going again. Same thing with the body, which is exactly why when you go to kickstart yourself, you go do things that require your brain lighting up or your body lighting up. That's where you encounter a lot of resistances. But that means you're in the right territory. So do it at whatever pace that you have to do it at. Forgive yourself, forgive fate, God, what have you. Allow yourself to go through whatever you have to go through, whatever pendulum swings and whatever. And that's it. I'll see you in the next video. If you want my help personally, you can click the first link in the description below to schedule a free discovery call with me. You can also click the second link to see my website, read more about my coaching. Like this video if you do like it. Comment your thoughts down below. Let me know if you have any questions about any of these subjects, any topic you'd like me to explore maybe. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I will talk to you soon.